louder than Liz, so hopefully you can hear me. I want to start off talking about the evolution of entrepreneurship by talking a little bit about my own mom and her, let's call it adventures in entrepreneurship. And to do that, I need to describe my mom. And my mom is Martha Stewart crossed with Cher. What does that mean? Martha, Cher in a blender, hit frappe, and you've got my mom, Sherry. And to further describe that, the Martha Stewart side of the equation, she's a woman who could take a brown paper grocery bag, do some like ninja skills to it, and all of a sudden you have an elegant brooch that you can wear to a cocktail party. She can make pancakes in the shape of animals that I cannot pronounce, freehand. And when we were growing up, our house was so clean that you could actually eat off the floor. In fact, she had this habit, and by habit I mean sickness, where she would take Q-tips and she would clean every slat of every vent in the house by hand every single day. So that's the Martha side of the equation. And then on the other side, she would do this wearing 4.5-inch stiletto heels, a leopard print bustier, and purple contact lenses. So that's the Cher side of the equation. So at least you get the fact that she was very creative. And she took this creativity, and one of the things that she did was she liked to create these beautiful gifts for people. And when holiday times came around, she created these elaborate gift baskets. And you know, now there are a lot of people doing elaborate kinds of gift baskets, but 30 years ago, when you got something that looked like that for Christmas, that was pretty revolutionary back then. You know, you had the reindeer thing, and then this was like in process. She would, you know, put the cellophane and the balloons and all of these things around it, and this is what you would get for the holidays. Well, she would send these things out, to friends and family, and people would come by the house to see what she was up to, and they'd see this and they go, "Wow, I'd love to give a gift like that for the holidays. Could you make one for me?" So, well, sure, you know, happy to. Well, how much would you charge? Anyone want to guess how much she would charge? Yeah, she'd do it for free. Yeah, because, you know, she wasn't busy. She wasn't freehanding pancakes and making, you know, brooches out of grocery bags and cleaning the house with Q-tips. She had tons of free time on her hands. So she just thought she would do this for free. Well, fortunately, one day, our neighbor came over, a very dear friend named Judy. She lived across the cul-de-sac. And she said, "I'd like to help you, you know, do these, you know, fun, beautiful gifts." And they did it, and she said, "You know, Sherry, I think we could actually charge people something for this, because you're going to the store and that's taking up time, and you've got other things that you need to do with your time, and I think we could charge people something." And my mom said, "Really? You think we could?" "Yeah, I think we could. I think, you know, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it is, I think we could charge them." So they started charging $15 or $20 to put together these gift baskets. And the holidays came and went, and people were still bothering them. And they were saying, "Hey, you know, I've got get well gifts, I've got baby showers, I've got all kinds of things." And they kept making these gift baskets. And finally they said, "You know, maybe there is a business here. Do you want to go into business full time?" They looked at each other. "Sure, let's go ahead and do that." So in the very early 1980s, they created what was the sort of pioneer in the gift basket company back then, called Gift Services. And they borrowed $20,000 from Judy's brother and had their own money that they put in as well. And they created this gift basket company. And it started out in our basement, as a lot of businesses do at home. And our basement kind of looked like a tornado hit Party City. It was like cellophane and ribbons and boxes and balloons and chocolate, like everywhere. And they didn't care. They were working it, and they were creating gift baskets. And they weren't just creating the gift basket, but they were answering the phone and taking the orders, and then they were packing them up for UPS, And they were going out and they were finding people to buy the gift baskets, and they were doing their accounting, they were doing all these kinds of things, and they were working probably about 50 hours a week on average, more probably during the holiday season. And so they were working this, and they were working this, and it grew. They got so much business, and so many people who were interested in these gift baskets that it eventually outgrew the house. And they went out, okay, and they got a great retail location with a warehouse in the back, and they just kept working. Well, fast forward to the early 90s, and they sat down to take a look at how much they were making, because, you know, they did their taxes every year, but they didn't really sit down and think, how much are we making in this business? And they looked at the revenue, they looked at the amount of money that they were taking in, and they looked at the cost of making the gift baskets, and they looked at all their expenses, and by that time they had a few people that came in from time to time and helped them pack. And at the end of the day, they found out that they were making a whopping $10,000 apiece. Now, when you take that $10,000 and you divide it by the 50 weeks out of the year that they were working and the 50 hours a week, they were pulling down a cool $4 an hour after a decade. Fabulous. I was working at the Gap in high school folding clothes, making more than $4 an hour, and they were working their butts off 50 hours a week, plus doing the household stuff, cleaning the Q-tips, you know, in the vents, and this is what they had. So this really puts a great framework together on what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs, and in particular, for the women in this room, a lot of female entrepreneurs. This is very much indicative of the state of women in business. And I know there's a lot of cheerleading going on, you know, women in business is great, fantastic, and it is great, and we are starting more businesses. But I also believe that there are a lot of issues, and the only way that we're going to address those issues and create opportunities and go and bring it is if we're realistic about it. We can't address a problem if we don't acknowledge that it's there to begin with. So the statistics about women in business are that we raise less money than men do. We have smaller businesses, we have less profits, we have higher failure rates, and the one that really kills me is just in pure sales, the size of the businesses that we create. If you take the average women-owned business with one or more employees, we do about $88,000 in sales, not profits, just what we're selling out there. If you look at men, it's 1.8 million on average for the same statistics. All right, so now I want to take a poll because I want to see how that makes you feel. And you can